Hello, welcome back to the Courageous Nerd YouTube channel for another interview. I'm Connor, and joining me today is actor Austin Crute. We chat all about Austin's role in the new ABC sitcom Call Your Mother, as well as his past work on various Netflix projects such as Daybreak. If you enjoy this interview or any of the others on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe. Great, so welcome and thank you for taking the time to do this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Great. And I was just going to say that you've appeared in several projects in your career so far, but what made you want to pursue acting as a career originally?
What made me want to pursue acting was that I was already just a performer in my personality, and I was doing music. So my mom and my aunt would break like the cardboard pant hangers that would like be in like a TJ Maxx or in a cleaner's thing, and I would go around the house banging everything with the drumsticks and making songs in the backseat. I remember my parents were pastors. My dad was a senior pastor of this 5,000 plus member church, and we were growing up.
Right.
So there were always pamphlets and binders and outlines everywhere. So I would take a binder, like a random binder that was in the car, and just like beat on it and make a song in the car and then forget it and make another song in the car. So, but I was shy. I was really shy, and I didn't want to sing in front of anybody. I didn't want to act in front of anybody. I didn't want to dance in front of anybody. I did nothing at church. So at school, when sixth grade came around, then it was time to like choose our classes. Drama was, my mom was like, get in drama. And I was like, okay. So I did that and I loved it. And from then on, it burgeoned into a professional pursuit.
Yeah. And I guess kind of jumping ahead in your career, and at least as of at the time of this interview, you're currently in ABC's new sitcom Call Your Mother with Kyra Sedgwick and Joey Bragg.
Yes.
And I suppose, like, how would you describe the premise and your character for anyone who might not be familiar with it?
Mm-hmm. So I play a guy named Lane in Call Your Mother, who is basically this gay dude who is from Iowa. He's from the Midwest, and he doesn't know exactly what his identity is in Los Angeles. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna try and find my own identity in Los Angeles, how I couldn't find it in Ohio. I think I said Iowa. He's from Ohio.
Right. Okay.
And that is why Lane and Jean, Kira Sedgwick's character, connect, because they're both kind of trying to find who they are in LA. So he can do it in his way and she can do it in her way, and they relate to each other like that. So it's really fun.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's a multi-camera sitcom. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I suppose, like, how have you found like working in that environment? Like, is it harder or easier than what you would have expected going in?
It is definitely, I think it's less hard and easy because I've done both and it's melding. So
Right.
I've done stage since like 12 years old. And my whole dream was to get into film and television. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, but I want to be on film. Like, anybody could be on the stage. So then 2018, that's when I booked Booksmart. And that was my actually, psych. 2016, I booked Atlanta. And that was my first ever time on like a film set. Then Booksmart came, and that was my first time on a movie set.
Yeah.
So then when I got this, when Call Your Mother happened, it's my first time ever on a sitcom. And it is, since we're not able to have a studio audience because of COVID.
Right. Yeah.
I don't get the full like experience of being on a sitcom. However, it is like the best of both worlds. It's like you get to just perform without the stakes almost of a single cam, because on a single cam, where one person would just be holding the camera and then you're getting it from whatever angle they choose to get it at, you kind of have to like work your own angles or whatever, because it's like every camera is pretty stationary. And it's a new experience, but it's really, really fun. I have such a good time. And growing up, everybody wanted to be on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, where
Yeah.
everything was a sitcom. So now
Sure.
I feel like I'm on Disney Channel. I'm
Yeah.
basically on Disney Channel. It's
You,
ABC. I'm with Joey Bragg.
mm, you made it.
So,
You made it.
I made it. I made
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and I suppose obviously you mentioned Lane. He's described him a bit in an earlier answer there, but I suppose when you first kind of found out about the character, what attracted you to playing the part?
What attracted me to playing Lane was how similarly his life mirrored mine in a way. Um, for example, him having to find his identity in LA. I have to find my identity in LA. I'm from
Mm,
Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. I'm not
right.
from the West Coast, much less California, much less Los Angeles in California. So it took me a minute to really kind of acclimate to my recreational life here.
Mm,
Love life here. I don't got like no love life here, I don't think. Um, and I think also I am kind of a external son for a few families in Georgia.
right.
Um, that where moms like having me around because I have a wholesome, welcoming,
Mm,
happy-go-lucky presence. So
right.
I have a few moms myself, a few play moms in Georgia myself.
Mm,
Um, and I love Lane's character because of that.
yeah. Yeah, and obviously we were kind of saying, this is the show is like a multi-camera network sitcom, but you've also done a few projects for Netflix, which is obviously streaming. So I suppose how would you compare the two and working in those two environments?
I would say I would say Netflix. Well, first of all, streaming and network are kind of two different things in terms of I feel like with Netflix there's more creative control on a individual project level.
Mm,
The showrunners and producers and actors are all kind of on the same team, and what their choices are will ultimately kind of be the end. And then Netflix may say, tweak this, tweak that. Whereas network, I feel like is really in the process
yeah.
with everybody else. And they'll say, okay, we can do this, we can't do that. And it's more censored. It's more like FCC, I think, and, everything. But I will say also, that with Netflix, it's usually like this 10 episode powwow where
Right.
they come in with their seasons. And with this, it's kind of like, okay, they're writing as they go along. It's episodes per season. So there's more
Yeah.
time to tell a story. With Netflix, I mean, you might drop a season and not be back the
Mm,
next season. So you have to make sure that you get enough of the story out to where if it doesn't, come back, that people have gotten a story. On network television, it's like, okay, welcome to our world. Welcome to
yeah.
our world. Let's keep on telling stories in
Mm,
our world and see where this goes. So, from a observational standpoint, that's what I see. From an experiential standpoint, I personally feel like it doesn't even feel like work. Call
mm,
your mother. It's like you go, you show up, you do the thing. There's a lot more rehearsal. With Call
right.
Your Mother, we rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. With Netflix, you know your lines, you show up, and then we do it. We maybe do like a few rehearsals in the morning, and then go crazy. Or
Mm,
maybe the scene, or maybe, the day before we'll maybe rehearse it or run through it, like say the lines, and then kind of talk about what it's gonna be. But for Call Your Mother, we get the new episode on Wednesday. We
yeah.
read it for the first time. We go down, put it on its feet. Thursday, we rehearse it again.
Mm,
Friday, we rehearse it again. And then Monday and Tuesday, we shoot it.
right.
So it's just like a different flow, but it's all so fun. Like I love
Yeah.
them both.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, again, at the time that we were recording this, Call Your Mother's still like quite early on in its run. So at least at this point, like my main reference point where I would know you from is a Netflix project, and it's Daybreak, which I thought was really enjoyed the show. I thought it was very, I guess, short and sweet. I found it,
Yes.
unfortunately, after it had been cancelled, so it was obviously too
Yeah.
late. But I suppose when like reflecting on that experience, what stands out in your mind? I mean, I think your character in that was great.
Yeah, thank you. I love Daybreak. I loved being in Daybreak. I love Wesley Fisk. I think the most highlighted part of the experience for me would be the sheer otherworldliness of the set and everything that was going on. I mean, there were zombies walking around. I was training with swords, and I like actually learned how to use swords for that.
Yeah.
So I'm good in an apocalypse, and I still have my 2 katanas. They're in the storage facility down the street, but I still have them.
Yeah.
The CGI, working with CGI, that was the first time I ever had to work with CGI. Ali Lind, who plays Angelica, she was 11 when we filmed that.
Right.
And there was a scene in the very first episode where we have to, she fires a fire gun, a flamethrower. And it was completely fake fire. And there was like lights, and there was like a little light at the end of her gun. And there was a light it was like behind us that a guy was holding or something. And I kind of just had to kind of pretend that fire was happening. But it's so funny because usually I'll be watching something like Spy Kids or a Marvel movie or something, and then on the DVD commentary you see the behind the scenes and they're completely faking it, but it's like, yo, I got to do that. So that was cool.
Yeah, and actually something that I just remembered about it while you were talking there is that Matthew Broderick was in Daybreak, and I suppose like how was your experience of working with him?
Yeah, he was great to work with. He was a delight to work with. We talked a few times, like just running lines. He's very just down to earth, very humble, very like, you know what I mean? He's not, he doesn't look at himself like Matthew Broderick. And I told him straight up, I said, for me, it wasn't Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you're Inspector Gadget for me.
Right.
You're Inspector Gadget to me. And he got a little kick out of that. But because Daybreak is a lot of referencing Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
So I kind of watched that from a research perspective, but Inspector Gadget is the one. I love Matthew
for
Broderick.
sure. Yeah, and I suppose with this kind of next question, you could I don't know, maybe perceive it either as maybe your younger self or just a younger actor, but like what advice would you give to someone who's starting out?
I would say 2 things. The first piece of advice I would give to somebody first starting out acting or performing is literally like, shake it off, shake off the nerves. Like, don't be nervous. If you can get to a place where you do things and you're not cripplingly nervous, or you're not, it's less reflective that you perform a lot, and it's more reflective that you trust yourself.
Yeah.
And that it's like, honestly, I don't care about you watching. I'm gonna do what I bring to the table. And if you don't want it, that's great. And honestly, I'm gonna watch the project when it comes out. And hopefully, honestly, you're right. You made the right choice. Because I do think that who you chose was better off for the project. You know what I mean? It's not personal. It's just, there's a TV show or a movie or a play or a musical that, there's a story to be told. Are you the person to help tell that story? If you're not, it's fine. It's literally fine. That's the first thing. Second is that I would say, like, auditioning and working are 2 different ballgames.
Right.
And I feel that I started booking after I mastered auditioning. And I was like 19 when I started auditioning for real for film and TV. And I was 20 when I got Atlanta on FX.
Yeah.
And I forgot I even did the Atlanta audition. I was doing like 2 auditions every other day in between classes, like 1 audition at 12, 1 audition at 4, and having to like go from, I had class in Union Square and then have to go up to like 57th Street or something like that, and then come back down to 14th Street for class. But because I was in music school, I went to Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music. So because I was in music school at NYU, I wasn't really focused on getting rejected. I could just do it and go to class. So when I got word that I was in Atlanta, it was like, are you serious? Because I had kind of forgot that I was just on go mode. I kind of forgot that I'd even auditioned for it. So I would say, honestly, if you're auditioning, just focus on auditioning and focus on getting it right. And then when you get booked, it'll be like this surprise because you weren't so much focused on getting a job and more so just being comfortable with being yourself in the room.
Yeah.
Or being your character in the room.
For sure. And I suppose for anyone who might be reading or watching this interview and they wanted to like keep up with your work or you personally, where could they look to do that?
Okay, so everybody who's watching me, you can follow me at Austin Crute, AUSTINCRUTE on Instagram, on Twitter. I am on Facebook, but I never check Facebook. If you've been messaging me on Facebook and you're taking it personally that I don't respond, that's on you. You're dumb because I'm not on Facebook.
You've heard it here, guys. He's not on Facebook.
Facebook. You heard it here. I'm not on Facebook a lot. That's my team that's doing all of that stuff. But Instagram is me, Twitter is me, Snapchat at @Crute if you want to snap me. I'm on Snapchat, and TikTok at Austin Crute. You know, that's where you can find me.
Yeah.
All of my work is gonna be posted on Instagram and TikTok. So.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, of course, obviously, like Call Your Mother is a series regular gig, but do you have any other projects you can talk about that you might have in the works?
Not at the moment, but I'm in the mix on a few like things that are about to happen. So we're gonna see about that. In the meantime, though, I am gonna be dropping mad singles from the music side, mad singles, mad songs. I'm not one of these little actors out here trying to make music. No. I am like a musician that they scooped into the acting world, and it just so happened that it worked out. Like, oh snap. So now I'm like, all right, well, let me introduce myself to the world as I am, rather than as they first saw me. Yes. So it's all about to start. 2021, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's the year.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue to my next question, because I was going to ask, what do you hope to accomplish for the rest of the year? Obviously, we're a few months in already, but with the 9 or so months left, what do you hope to accomplish?
In 2021, I hope to accomplish, and this is not predicting so that if I don't achieve this, I flop. I'm not a flop if I don't achieve these things, but I do want to achieve this in the next year. 1, I will be releasing 20, the mixtape. Period. It's going to happen. 2, I want like at least 2 more crazy music videos out. Period. Like at least 2 more. 3, I want to be in an action movie, action flick, something sci-fi, maybe something indie, something that's just like really pushes the boundaries for me as an artist, as an actor, but then also something that's just like riveting, something that's just like good, objectively. That's just like, and also I want to like, I don't know, maybe I'll hit 100K on TikTok. Maybe I'll hit 100K on TikTok this year. But those are my goals. To release my mixtape, get some new music videos, get in like an action movie or some kind of indie iconic film again this year, and establishing my presence on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like 100,000. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll say very best of luck with all those goals.
Thank you so much, Connor.
I'll wrap this up by saying thanks again for taking the time to speak with me. Take care and stay safe.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.